John Spillane. John, I was kind of surprised when that you ended up a balladeer, because obviously I'm much younger than you, but I would remember you from Cork, and you were a heavy metal band at one stage, Sabre, and then there was Stargazers, which was kind of jazz, kind of.
Yeah, that's right.
Kind of vibe, yeah.
We went to the same school, lads, myself and Brendan O'Connor.
We did.
He was only a young pup.
Yeah.
And we used to have the rock operas every year.
We did, yeah. Tony Doherty.
Tony Doherty, the doc, put us on the stage.
We had a teacher, right? And he used to write a whole satirical musical every year, and you used to come in and do the music with him for a lot of them. Yeah.
Happy days.
Yeah, it was great.
This one goes out to the doc. Thanks, Doc.
Yeah,
so I was a rocker, Brendan, and a heavy metaler. And then we used to be doing the ballads later on at night then, and I had a split personality.
Right.
And then eventually I moved from Sir Henry's Hard Rock Cafe over to the Phoenix Bar, where Jimmy Crowley and Stoker's Lodge were, and Jackie Daly and all the trad guys. Yeah. And eventually I made the transition into a folkie, from a rocker to a folkie.
Right. And of course there is that great old folk scene down the quays there in Cork, in the Lobby Bar and all that, which you've written songs about.
Yeah, great traditional music in Cork, as there is in Dublin, the Cobblestone Bar in Smithfield, as there is in Galway, you know, the Crane Bar, and, you know, we're sitting on the Crock of Gold here, lads. We have the best music in the world.
Come here, tell us about your first gig when you were 17.
My first gig when I was 17, I played in a pub in Barrack Street in Cork. I won't mention the name of the pub, like, even though it is gone. But myself and my buddy Tony, we couldn't really play. We had two guitars, but all we knew was one song, 3 Times a Lady, which was a big hit at the time. And we just kept doing it all night. And we had a Sudlam's Book of Irish Ballads, but it just, my first gig really, Brendan, was a lesson in that all you want in this business is plenty neck.
Yeah.
You know? And then we were out in Barrack Street, Christmas Eve, we were getting paid, and 3 Times a Lady, do it again, Mock, 3 Times a Lady, 3 Times a Lady, 3 times, almighty fight broke out. Beer all over the floor, big fight, cops, ambulances everywhere, big man stretched out, and that was my introduction to the music industry.
Come here, do you see the way Mary was praying earlier that Derek from Crystal Swing, that he get a break in the music industry? But you know, the way in Cork is different to Cork, the home of, you know, when the son is drowning, the Cork mother says, help, help, my son, the engineer is drowning. Yes, it wasn't the thing to tell your mother you were going to be a musician in Cork, really, was it? How did yours take it?
Well, I worked in the bank for 2 years, Brendan, when I was 18 till I was 20, and I left the bank to go full-time with my rock and roll band, and we bought a transit van and a PA system, and we gave up the bank. Yeah. And my mother said to me, she said, John, if you leave your good job in the bank, don't ever come back to this house again. Yeah. And then I rang her and I said, I'm after handing in my notice. And she said, sure, we'll see you Friday night. You know?
And listen, when you started writing the folk songs then, I know, like, Irish people are parochial anyway. Cork people can tend to be a little bit even more parochial. But you started writing about what was around you and what you knew and everything, which can be difficult, like, you know, if you're writing about the people you know and the place you know. As in, you had that great song, Johnny Don't Go to Ballincollig. Yeah. Which got you in a little bit of trouble, yeah?
Well, I wrote a song called Johnny Don't Go to Ballincollig, and it was on my first record, like, and I was told by some eminent people, ha ha ha, John, very funny, but you'll never get nowhere with stuff like that. But then Christy Moore heard it, and oh my God, did he love Johnny Don't Go to Ballincollig. And he recorded it a number of times.
The Ballincollig crowd must have been thrilled with that, were they? Yeah.
I got the big check then, and I bought a big flash car with the royalties, and I drove out to Ballincollig, lads. I turned it on full on the stereo, the Nissan Almera, windows down, Johnny Don't Go to Ballincollig.
Give us a blast of it there.
I will, of course.
And I've just been asked to say by our lawyers that Ballincollig is a beautiful satellite town near Cork City.
Hey. Well, I did write a follow-up song as well, Brendan, called Beautiful Ballincollig.
Good man.
Yeah. Johnny don't go to Ballincollig, where you always get so disappointed. Johnny don't go, Johnny don't go, Johnny don't go. Stay in town.
Woo! Excellent. So, that song was essentially about that you should stay in the city centre when in Cork and don't go. Is that right? Yeah.
Well, don't go back to the places where you always get disappointed. Poor old Ballincollig was just used, unfortunately.
Look, you had a bad experience there, obviously.
Well,
but it's a fantastic place.
Beautiful Ballincollig is a far superior song, both in lyrics and in melody, and all is forgiven.
Okay, good. And you said Christy Moore did that song, and Christy, he's done a few of your songs. He also did that lovely song, Gorta Taggart.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, Christy Moore has always been a great hero of mine, like, you know, since I was a small boy, really. I love the Planksty songs, and he's been extremely good to me and very kind, very encouraging for many years, and has recorded 3 of my songs, and we've written a song together. And this is a song called Gorta Taggart. I wrote about the farm in Bantry where my mother came from, and the names of the fields, Brendan. But it turns out that every field in Ireland has a name, like, but no one ever put it in a song before. But Christy recorded the song, a most beautiful version, but nothing would do him only to come down and visit the farm. So he visited the farm, so he walked in all the fields that are in the song and sang the Cliffs of Dooneen inside in the kitchen from my Auntie Mary and my Auntie Chrissy. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences of my life, I have to say.
Delighted, yeah.
And I felt I was on the right track all the time.
Give us a snatch of it there.
I sing the fields, I sing the farm, I sing the house my mother was born in Gorta Taggart, Collamon, a green jewel, sewn in a patchwork quilt of fields between the mountain and the river, in this time now and in another, where I ran free with my brothers.
Lovely.
And so on.
Okay, and listen. Okay, I want to try and get through a few more.
Thanks very much.
So, the song a lot of people who know you for is, of course, the Dunn Stores Girl. Is that about perving around the supermarket, or I presume there's something a bit more to it than that?
Well, the story is, Brendan, I went into Douglas Court to Dunn's in Cork to buy a plug for the sink, and I met this girl in there, working there, and she said, "Oh, you're John Spillane, love your stuff. I saw you in the lobby there last week." And then she was writing into my, Claire Cogan from Turner's Cross is the Dunn Stores Girl. So then she was writing into my website and signing herself the Dunn Stores Girl, and her brother was writing in, signing himself the Baldy Man. And I wrote back to them and I said, "You've got great names, lads. You sound like characters out of a song." And she said, "Well, if you're such a shit-hearted songwriter, so John Spillane, why don't you write a song about us?" And I said, "I will." And that's where the Dunn Stores Girl came from. It was a dare. Hey, check out the Dunn Stores Girl. She's the one who rules my world. I'm gonna walk down the aisle with the Dunn Stores Girl. I'm gonna waltz down the aisle with the Dunn Stores Girl. She rules my world. Na 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 na, na 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 na, na 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 na. The Dunn Stores Girl.
Lovely. We time for one more before we go over and do the song. Your new album, I think, is a little bit more personal and maybe less quirky than a lot of the songs people might know you for. It's called A Rock to Cling To, and I know that the title track of Rock to Cling To is a song about your parents, yeah?
That's right.
Your father died when you were, like,
when we were very small, yeah, that's right.
Do you remember?
Well, my father died when I was 1.5. Okay, but yes, I do remember him, because I have this photograph, which I remember the photograph being taken when I was a small baby, and I do actually have a memory of my dad.
Okay, so and this is a song about your mum and dad, yeah?
Well, my mother died there about 3 years ago, and I wrote a load of songs.
Okay.
So this new album now is called A Rock to Cling To. It's all kind of emotional, beautiful kind of songs. No Cork stuff, no Gaelic, no humour, you know what I mean? It's going to be good, Brendan. It's a slow burn.
I've heard it, it's really nice, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so quick snatch of that.
Everybody needs a rock to cling to. Everybody needs a rock. Daddy long legs on the ceiling makes you feel that sad old feeling. Father left and went away. You won't see him till the judgment day. Everybody needs a rock to cling to. Everybody needs a rock. My mother stood upon the shore. The ocean gave a mighty roar, and she turned to face the day and to keep the wolves at bay. Everybody needs a rock to cling to. Everybody needs a rock.
That's beautiful.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
Thanks, lads. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, John Spillane.